start my recording here. All right, everybody, welcome to the last weekly weather briefing for 2018. And I'm Matt at the National Weather Service in Spokane, so let's get right into it. Basically, let's start out with the Pacific satellite loop out here, and there's a couple of features on here that are going to impact the region. First of all, you see right off the coast we have a dry upper level ridge that's going to maintain its integrity over us for the next couple of days, giving us pretty much dry conditions. Although if you see right off the coast, I got an area of flurries there. That's going to be some upper level moisture cresting that ridge, probably keeping us with considerable high clouds at least through tomorrow. Might clear out a little bit on Wednesday. But the main issue is going to be seasonably cold and a few snow flurries for tonight through Wednesday. And then we look out farther, we see the Thursday, Friday storm system that will be moving over us. That looks like the most significant weather event we're going to have this week. It's not going to be a major storm. However, there will be some local areas that see some impacts from this, and I'll get into that in a minute. And then later on in the week and into next weekend, you see that area of speckled cloudiness from Kamchatka and the Aleutians and points south. That's a very deep and cold upper level trough, and we're going to have to refine our forecast throughout the week to see if that trough is going to actually move over us or if it's just going to simply keep diving down and dig off the coast, providing us with a bit of a more mild but still unsettled weather system. So looking at the temperature trends for a few stations around the area, during that upper level ridge the next couple of days we are going to be quite cool. We'll have a bit of an inversion setting up over us, which is going to retard temperatures from reaching any significant above freezing readings. But then this isn't going to be a strong inversion. We're not looking at any real air quality issues or anything. And then we have that storm system coming in off the coast. That's going to scrub the basin and cause us to get some warm advection in here, which is going to allow our temperatures to bump well above normal over most locations. And then the weekend, I left that off because we're not terribly certain about that yet. Probably we're going to remain at or around or slightly above average, but that's the part of the forecast that probably has the most uncertainty, is what's going to happen next weekend. The weather impact overview, this is for the time period for today through Saturday or tonight through Saturday, and we're fairly confident about this. New Year's Day and Wednesday, not much going on, just a few snow flurries. We don't expect any significant snow precipitation or accumulation anywhere. Maybe the grass might whiten up once or twice, but it'll quickly melt. And then on or about Thursday, Friday, for especially the Spokane area and the Sandpoint area, we are looking at some snow. We'll probably get maybe an inch or a bit less than an inch in the Spokane area. And I highlighted this in yellow because that might affect the Thursday morning commute period. As we know, even a little bit of snow on these roads around here, especially in the morning, can create quite a mess as far as traffic is concerned. But again, this is not a big event. And then on Friday, showers and windy conditions after that cold front passage. Up in the northern mountain valleys, Sandpoint might get a couple inches out of here. Not terribly unusual for this time of year. So, and then everybody else is pretty much going to be very light snow turning to rain or just straight rain. However, we are going to have a little bit of a different situation, especially in the Moses Lake to Wenatchee area, the deep basin, the deep Columbia Basin, and the Columbia River Valley tucked up against the Cascades. That's where we're looking at the potential of some deeper air taking its time scrubbing out as that warm front comes in over them. So we are looking at a very real possibility of some light freezing rain starting, say, very late Wednesday night and into Thursday morning for the Moses Lake area and the Wenatchee area. So I highlighted that as at least moderate impact, although again, this does not look like an ice storm situation, but still just a little bit of freezing rain on those roads, especially in the morning, can create some very slick driving conditions. However, the good news is as it warms up on Thursday, that freezing rain will then turn into simple rain, and any ice that accumulates will quickly melt off, and then that rain will probably stop as they get into more of a downslope rain shadow situation out there. So here's a basic overview of the Thursday storm system. A nice deep low pressure off the coast is going to set up a warm front over us. That's going to bring up moisture. Initially, we'll start out cold with snow over much of the region, but we are confident that it will quickly turn over to rain during the day on Thursday, at least in the Columbia Basin, and it will probably lick up into some of the northeastern valleys as well. However, we will be getting some moderate to locally heavy mountain snow out of this, although we don't really expect any real impacts as far as going across the passes are concerned. Again, the main issue is going to be the freezing rain potential in the deep basin, and the higher snow amounts may create some winter travel conditions across Stevens Pass on Wednesday night and Thursday. And then by Friday, that low pressure tracks through the area. We get a nice strong cold front passage. That's going to create the breezy conditions, especially across the exposed terrain of the Columbia Basin. And it will also generate some mountain-induced snow showers continuing into the mountains, especially north and east of the Columbia Basin. Now for our snow accumulations associated with this storm, again, this is not going to be a big storm. However, some of the northern mountains and the Cascade Crest area right up along the boundary between western Washington and eastern Washington, we might get some substantial snow accumulations, but quite frankly, nobody really lives up there, so we're not too worried about it. The Stevens Pass approaches might get a few inches as well for some winter driving conditions. But other than that, as far as the lowlands where most of the population is, we're only looking at most 2 to 3 inches or so out of this. So it's not a big storm, but it is going to occur around midweek. Then on into next weekend, it looks like we're going to continue to be unsettled and showery, occasionally breezy at times, and our confidence of this is pretty high regardless of what happens with that trough. Either it will be over us, creating unstable conditions when showery, or it'll be just off the coast, pushing up more warm fronts and more moisture ahead of it. Will probably be slightly milder than normal, given that this is an El Nino year. That would tend to favor us staying a little bit milder than normal with this kind of pattern. Mountain snow showers will be occurring occasionally through the weekend. And in the valleys and in the basin, it looks a situation where if the showers occur during the day, they'll primarily be rain. And if they occur at night, they'll primarily be snow. But we don't expect any major accumulations anywhere. And there's at least moderate confidence that we're not going to see any major storm systems coming in this weekend. As far as the outlook for next week, which is the second week in January, the odds at least moderately favor warmer than normal temperatures around the region, and there's no real strong signal either way as to whether we're going to be wetter or drier than normal. Maybe a little bit wetter in the Cascades, but not so much on the east side. This precipitation pattern does look like a typical El Nino type situation where most of the heavy moisture falls well to the south of us in the California Great Basin area. And so stay informed. There are various resources on the internet and social media. And so thank you for joining us at this time. Does anybody have any questions?